Welcome back, everyone. Every Sunday, we will be diving into a new chapter of Polish history, exploring the stories that shaped this beautiful nation. Today, we're uncovering the incredible story of how Poland refused to surrender, even after its military was defeated and its land was occupied. This is the story of the Armia Krajowa, Poland's secret army of defiance, and their desperate fight for a free homeland. Imagine a nation, crushed by two of the most brutal regimes in human history. Its capital city is in ruins, its people are starving, and its very existence is at stake. In the face of this overwhelming darkness, a secret army rises from the shadows. They are not a conventional force, but a network of spies, saboteurs, and partisans, an entire underground state that defies its occupiers at every turn. This is the story of the Armia Krajowa, Poland's secret army of defiance, and their desperate fight for a free homeland. The story begins in September 1939, when Poland was invaded by both Nazi Germany from the west and the Soviet Union from the east. The Polish army, though brave, was no match for the combined might of these two military powers. In just a few short weeks, the country was defeated, and the Polish state ceased to exist on the world map. But while the formal government was forced into exile, the spirit of the Polish people refused to surrender. Almost immediately, small clandestine resistance groups began to form across the country. These were ordinary citizens, former soldiers, scouts, students, and workers, who were united by a single, burning purpose: to fight for a free and independent Poland. But these groups lacked a central command, which made their efforts fragmented and less effective. Recognizing this, the Polish government in exile in London began to consolidate these scattered forces. On February 14, 1942, they formally established the Armia Krajowa, or Home Army. This was a pivotal moment. The Home Army absorbed the various smaller groups, creating a single, unified underground force. It was structured like a regular army, with its own command structure, intelligence services, and communications network, but all of it operated in deep secrecy. At its peak, in 1944, the Armia Krajowa's ranks swelled to an incredible 400,000 members. This made it the largest underground army in all of occupied Europe. This was not just a military organization. It was the armed wing of the Polish underground state, a complete shadow government that operated in defiance of its German and Soviet occupiers. It ran its own schools, published its own newspapers, and even had its own court system, a powerful symbol of Poland's continued existence. While the major armies of the world fought on the battlefields, the Armia Krajowa waged a different kind of war. Its most crucial role was as an intelligence network. Its agents risked their lives daily, infiltrating German military installations and industrial centers to gather vital information. This wasn't just low-level gossip. The Home Army provided the Allies with some of the most critical intelligence of the entire war. Perhaps their most significant achievement was the discovery and analysis of the German VF-1 and V-2 rocket programs. Armia Krajowa operatives obtained parts of a crashed V-2 rocket, disassembled them, and smuggled the pieces to the British. This intelligence was invaluable. It gave the Allies the data they needed to develop countermeasures against these terrifying new weapons, potentially saving countless lives and shortening the war. But their work wasn't just about gathering information. The Armia Krajowa was also a force of constant disruption. They carried out thousands of acts of sabotage, each one a tiny pinprick that collectively bled the German war machine. They derailed German supply trains on their way to the Eastern Front, a frequent and effective way to slow down Hitler's war effort. They attacked German factories and destroyed vital equipment, hampering production and forcing the Germans to divert resources. In the cities, particularly in Warsaw, the Home Army engaged in what they called small sabotage. This involved spray painting patriotic slogans on walls, publishing fake German propaganda, and organizing small, defiant acts that boosted Polish morale and demoralized the occupiers. The Armia Krajowa also had a more violent and high-stakes role, hunting down and eliminating high-ranking Nazi officials and collaborators. These were not random acts of violence, but carefully planned operations meant to cripple the German occupation authority and provide a measure of justice for the Polish people. One of their most famous operations was the assassination of Franz Kuchera, the SS and police leader of Warsaw. Nicknamed the Butcher of Warsaw, he was responsible for countless acts of terror and mass executions. In February 1944, a team of Armia Krajowa operatives ambushed his car in the heart of the city, ending his reign of terror and sending a clear message to the Germans that they were not safe anywhere in Poland. This act of defiance was a massive morale boost for the Polish people and a significant blow to the German regime's prestige. As the war turned and the Red Army advanced on Poland from the east, the Armia Krajowa prepared for its final and most ambitious act, Operation Burza, or Tempest. This was a plan for a nationwide uprising to liberate Polish cities from German control before the Soviets arrived. The goal was to establish a sovereign Polish government on Polish soil and greet the Red Army as a partner, not as a conqueror. The most dramatic and tragic chapter of this operation was the Warsaw Uprising, which began on August 1, 1944. For 63 days, the Home Army, armed with what little they could find, fought a desperate and heroic battle against overwhelming German forces. They took control of large parts of the city and inflicted heavy losses on the Germans. But the uprising was a gamble that ultimately failed. The Red Army, which had reached the banks of the Vistula River just across from Warsaw, refused to help. From a political standpoint, Joseph Stalin saw a strong, independent Poland as a threat to his plans for a communist-controlled Eastern Europe. He ordered his forces to wait, allowing the Germans to systematically crush the uprising. The cost was immense. Over 200,000 civilians and fighters were killed, and the Germans systematically destroyed Warsaw, leaving it a pile of rubble. With the war over, the Armia Krajowa faced a new and even more insidious enemy, the Soviet-backed communist regime that took control of Poland. On January 19, 1945, the Home Army was officially disbanded to prevent an open conflict with the Soviets. But for many, the fight for Polish independence was not over. Thousands of former Armia Krajowa soldiers, now known as the Cursed Soldiers, refused to lay down their arms. They went back underground to fight a new, brutal war against the communist security forces. They were hunted down, arrested, tortured, and executed in what became a brutal post-war campaign of terror. The tragic irony is that after years of fighting for freedom, they found themselves facing persecution from a regime that claimed to be their liberators. The story of the Armia Krajowa is a testament to the unyielding spirit of a people who refused to be defeated. A story that deserves to be remembered for its bravery, its sacrifice, and its tragic end. If you found this story compelling and want to support content like this, consider joining our channel membership. It's a great way to help us continue telling these important stories from history. And for all of you who made it this far, thank you for watching. The legacy of the Armia Krajowa is a testament to the unyielding spirit of a people who refused to be defeated. A story that deserves to be remembered for its bravery, its sacrifice, and its tragic end. We'll see you in the next video.